Buffalo brother George, how are you?
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Oh, I am ready to talk about the Buffalo Bills.
Ain't that the truth?
But before we jump into it, I wanted to say this is the week leading to Christmas.
Yeah,
We're just a few days away,
couple days away.
and we haven't made a
Couple
video
weeks. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Yeah.
because, quite frankly, we were so depressed after losing to the Philadelphia Eagles
Oh, it was a tough loss.
that we knew before that Eagles game the Bills had to win two out of the next three games
Yeah.
between the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Cowboys to get it done. And so instead of putting out videos, we just held our breath, chewed our nails, and watched the Kansas City games where Buffalo went out to a good lead, right?
Yeah.
And then hung on by the skin of their teeth.
Right.
And then that was on the road. They went home to play the Cowboys. And I got to be honest with you, I was absolutely 100% positive they were going to get trounced. I don't think you felt that way, but I sure
Against the
did.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
No, I thought they'd win.
You thought they win. I thought they were going to get reamed. And boy, was I wrong.
I thought it'd be a closer game, but I thought they'd win.
And now
I did pick them to lose to the Eagles. They played better than
I picked them to, well, I did pick them officially to
win.
to the Eagles, but if we had made a video, I was going to pick them to win. I thought they'd win in a close game. Instead, they lost in a close game.
Okay. Okay.
And I thought they were done. And they're not done.
No.
And here we are. And we are on the bandwagon to make a playoff spot.
We have a shot.
We got a couple of shots.
No, we got a real shot.
We could even win the division.
We got a shot at the division. You are right.
But, all that said and aside, I'd like to talk about, we could talk about their wins, but also about some of the play that's being done on both sides of the ball right now. Unbelievable plays by our defense. And I'd like to say it, and I will say it, on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
We're seeing playmakers that we didn't know. We were hoping they had it, but we didn't think they had it, and they do. And after all those injuries we saw on defense, it's like the backup players are coming into their own, and they're finally taking control of games. And we're seeing a strong, aggressive play by McDermott's guys on defense, and Joe Brady. After that change, we're seeing a different offense in a short time span than we had prior to the Eagles.
Right? Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I'll let you say, what would you like to say about this here?
Well, 3 weeks ago, no, 2 weeks ago, I don't know. I'm still of the mindset that they should consider a new head coach.
Okay.
But look, Brady has done good things in play calling. He's done good things in play calling. I really did appreciate what he did just this past week. I thought he did a good job at the Philadelphia game. I thought he did a pretty good job with the Kansas City game. I mean, they didn't win, but I thought he, in the Philadelphia game, it was an overtime or at the end of the game. I mean, they had Davis. He had Davis open for a touchdown.
Yes, he did.
Josh missed him.
Josh missed him.
So I thought he called good games.
One guy went this way, and the ball went this way, and there was a lack of communication, and that's not Joe Brady's fault.
I can't tell you that I know that he's a better offensive coordinator than Ken Dorsey in most parts of the work, but I can tell you that I believe he's a better play caller. And I think I was concerned that they were going to give play calling responsibilities to Dorsey, who had never done it before. And he got away with it last year, and they had a really good record. But I think it caught up to him this year.
Well, I'll tell you, Dorsey or Brady's first game as a OC or interim OC was a Philadelphia game. And let's face it, he had to come out on a short week without being a play caller for the Bills, although he was an offensive coordinator in his past life.
Mhm.
He
had two. Well, yeah.
At
least with Carolina,
even though he's been with the team, these aren't the players that he picked, and this isn't the offense that he invented. This is a playbook that was created by Dorsey and maybe a lot of influence by Dable.
Yeah.
So his hands were not totally tied, but they were somewhat tied. And he had to use the players that he has, and he had to find plays in that playbook that were going to work against the Philadelphia Eagles. And he did. And we should have won in overtime, but there was a problem with Josh not connecting with Davis in the end zone. And then, John, you please explain it, because you explained it to me so well about how the receivers have options that make this offense so confusing to learn.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. It's easier to explain when you can show it in front of you. But, depending on whether the receiver is going to run his route at sometimes multiple points in the route, they'll have options of straight in, out. That's the most basic ones. And what they choose is dependent on the person that's guarding them, where they are,
So
and
basically,
also if there's anyone guarding them.
not to make it minor, but a receiver, you're telling me, can go to his left, he can go to his right, or he can go straight ahead. And farther down that route, he has the same choices.
His choices again, yeah.
And so, how is the quarterback supposed to know what he's going to do?
Yeah, one of the things that's like a quarterback has to, we always talk about, I always talk about pre-snap reads, figuring out what defense you're facing before the snap, and then confirming that, like if the quarterback snaps the ball at the line, as they're backing up, they're confirming their original read to make sure that's right. And if there's been a change, they've got to understand quickly or process very quickly that what they thought they were facing, they're not facing, or they are, and then where they want to go with the ball. But a quarterback has to, I don't want to use the word guess, they have to predict which route, or how the receiver is going to adjust their route based upon the defense that he thinks is going to be there.
So what the quarterback is seeing, he has to interpret what he believes the wide receiver is going to interpret.
What he believes, right. They have to see it the same, right.
And to make that a little more confusing for the quarterback, each receiver can make all those choices.
Well, it's even before you go there, the receiver makes their decision based on what is actually happening on the field. So at the time I'm going to make my cut, I make my decision based on where the defensive back is. But the quarterback has to let the ball go. So he has to anticipate where that defensive back is going to be, and then from that, anticipate which direction the receiver is going to go.
So how is Josh Allen in a split second supposed to see what Gabe Davis thinks he's going to do, and what Diggs, what he thinks he's going to do, and what Shakir, what he thinks he's going to do, and in a split second make his reads 1, 2, 3? That is so difficult. So that's a quarterback.
One of the you have been frustrated as we've gone through the season at times when you see an Allen and then he either throws it a completion or even maybe an interception, and you're looking at it and you're going, this guy over here is wide open. And I'm trying to say, yeah, but once the ball, before the snap, he decided which side of the field he was going to, if you will, which side of the field the receivers he was going to go to. So unless he breaks and runs or does something to extend the play, he ain't ever going to get over here.
Yeah.
So his decisions are all on the side he picked ahead of time. sometimes that's zone beaters versus man beaters, sometimes a mixture, but once he makes his decision, he's kind of locked into those receivers.
It explains something else to me that I've questioned for a
Oh,
couple of years.
and it's 2.7 seconds. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
he's got. If you get 3 seconds, that's an eternity.
Yeah.
2.7 seconds is all you got to go, no, no, go.
And
Yeah.
and you'll know that I've said this for a long time, so you can confirm it. Why is there not a lot of yards after catch by the Bills receivers?
That's part of their
And
system.
and it's they're catching the ball when they turn their body and expose the numbers to Josh, and that's when he fires a cannon shot right to the guy. So he's making his decision based on he's open right now, boom.
Yeah.
And it's because he doesn't know what the guy is going to do.
Yeah.
And when we're seeing him miss and seeing him miss so bad, it's because he and the wide receiver didn't see the defense the same way. And Josh may have felt the guy was going to go in to the post, and the wide receiver said, "No, I'm going to go out to the sideline." And there goes the ball sailing over somebody's head or into an interception.
There are times when they run routes where they try to throw with timing. They're not a timing offense. There are times, and he's very good at that. If he's going to roll, like not a deep, but maybe a medium out, he takes his 5 steps, he stops, he plants that left or his back foot, and he throws that ball in timing before the receiver breaks. The ball's in the air, and he catches it just before he runs out of bounds. That he's really good at that. He's more accurate than the numbers would say, that would indicate. He's very good at that when he has the opportunity to throw in timing. One problem they've had, not so much this year, but in previous years, is pass protection on timing routes.
Yeah.
It's been an issue, and you can't throw the ball in timing if you're moving. If you have to, even if you have to take that half step to avoid someone, well, the timing's screwed up. And now he's throwing the ball hard to that guy and not tossing it to that guy. So, but a lot of their stuff is not timing routes. It is the receiver makes a decision, turns, and he expects the ball. So you can get away with that a little bit more when your quarterback has a big arm, because quarterbacks that have weak arms have to throw with timing, because they've NFL defensive backs are too fast. They'll intercept too many balls or tap down too many balls. They'll catch up while the ball's in the air. So he's waiting a little. He can sometimes wait a little bit to be sure that him and the receiver are on the right page, and then zip that ball in. And sometimes that does lead to the drop passes or the tip balls.
Well, I'll tell you what, that explained to me how we lost that Philadelphia game. The Bills were up, their defense kept them in the game, but they tired and late in the fourth quarter. And in overtime, Josh had the ability to score a winning touchdown on an opening drive, missed Gabe Davis, who went one way, and Josh threw the ball the other way for that misunderstanding. And then the game was over. They went down and scored. But in the Kansas City game, I thought we saw some adjustments to that type of play. And with the Bills getting out to an early 14-0 lead, we saw Josh Allen start to run his legs a little more.
Yeah.
Get some first downs. We also saw him with a little more touch on the ball.
A lot more, yeah.
A lot more touch where he was lofting the ball
makes it look
for the
easy.
guy,
Right.
made it to his open receivers, took what they gave him, and let his playmakers make the plays. And then when we got to the Dallas game, then we really saw something. One thing we saw is the Bills had deduced that they could run on the Cowboys because they have small linebackers, and they were going to get the numbers in the box against the Cowboys, get their big linemen into that next level, and bury those linebackers. And Cook had just a unbelievable day.
Yeah, yeah.
And although we know Josh can throw, and he did make some great and Diggs made one of the most incredible catches I ever saw in that game, stretching out, one-handed grab. You know what I mean? That was a great catch.
Yeah.
But we also saw a defense that came together and just took the Cowboys' offense apart. They were never in the game. And the one time that they did score a touchdown, the Cowboys, was against like third stringers on the Bills defense when everybody was resting, celebrating a victory.
Yeah.
What a difference that we saw now in 3 weeks.
Well, before we go to the defense,
okay,
you mentioned that great catch by Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get a chance to ever rewatch that, on that play, there's one more, like there's a blitz. There's one more pass rusher than there is blockers.
Mm-hmm.
So Allen knows that's his responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So he has an outlet to his tight end into flat who could catch the ball and maybe get the first down.
Yeah.
He chooses to not take that easy pass. And I think it was Knox, and probably for a first down. He could have run for first down, but he chooses not to do that. He does elude the first fella. And as he's sliding to his favorite to his right,
He's right.
another player, those defensive ends are fast for Dallas, gets in his face. And he's got to sidearm it to Diggs. So, in a way, it was a great catch. But that was a little bit of, I'm a hero. I have it. It's right here. It's in the play. This guy is unaccounted. I could pass right there. And maybe he gets the first down. But he's like, no, I'm Josh Allen.
Well,
I'm going to throw for this first down or a touchdown.
I can see what you're saying. And you're right. He will make some cabbage head plays.
Yeah.
But when they're reduced down to a minuscule number, and he can end up making a great play instead of being down by two scores or three scores and having to take the whole team on his back, and then we don't know where the ball's going because he thinks he can get it in between three guys, but I see I know what you're saying, and but to keep that under control and keep the game plan so that he could make easier, softer throws, which is what Brady had him do the last couple of weeks, and it's working.
The other time, like you said, when they're down by Poor Hill sometimes, but the other time that we've kind of seen it is in a close game when we're punting. Punting.
Yeah,
punting.
right.
It's almost like he gets frustrated, like, okay, I got to make a play.
I got to make a play.
And then you can some say it's in a steamrolls. The play turns out to be an interception, and now the defense is put in a bad spot. And now next time he's out, next time they're on the field, the pressure is even more, and it just steamrolls. So, okay, defense.
All right, the defense. Ed Oliver played a game.
Yeah. See,
Jordan Poyer. I'm sorry, Jordan Phillips played a game. And then he got injured.
Oliver is looking like he's worth the money, right?
He is looking like he's worth the money. Floyd.
Yeah.
Another contribution, another sack. He's over 10 sacks now for the year. Still got 3 more games to go. Fantastic. What an addition. The middle linebacker, Terrell Bernard, has done a phenomenal job in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the addition of Rasul Douglas on cornerback has really taken the pressure off of Teron Johnson and Benford.
And it's mean that they've been able to leave Dane Jackson on the bench.
Yeah, Teron could continue to watch the slot guy, and Bernard can be on the second receiving. He doesn't have to be watching the first receiver. Yep. Douglas is doing a hell of a job, and he's made some turnovers already, for some turnovers, and he's playing an incredible ball.
Yeah, Teron Johnson was on CD Lamb quite a bit, and he did a fantastic job. Better than I really thought he would have.
And
Yeah.
we even saw them bring in what's his name? Number 39.
Cam Lewis.
Cam Lewis. They saw him bring in Cam Lewis, and we both scratched our head. He was standing in a linebacker spot.
Yeah.
A safety standing in a linebacker spot. And we had talked about, will the Bills ever use a safety as a linebacker? Because we only play with a two linebacker spot. But
Yeah, we
if
did.
one of those guys get injured, would we see a safety step up? And they have done that, and it's been successful.
Yeah,
I mean,
earlier
our other
this
guy,
season.
Dorian Williams, who we just drafted,
Yeah.
hasn't been the best yet, and as a replacement linebacker, and Terrell Dotson, who they bring in as a linebacker, John, he's a problem.
He's a problem.
He's a problem. He starts fights. He gets penalties. He's got a bad attitude out on the field. A bad attitude, I don't mean against our own players, but he's going to get us penalized, and he could lose us a game because he's got a bad attitude.
He is a personal foul waiting to happen.
Yep, he's a personal foul waiting to happen.
Okay, so a couple things. I thought that you mentioned this, the backups have really, since with injuries, given all time, the backups have really, and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But Douglas and Joseph, right? The
Linville Joseph, yeah.
They've made significant contributions, and they are not backup. Like Joseph wasn't on a team; they signed him off the street. Like, you know, he didn't go to. I don't know if he went to a training camp. And then they made the trade. It was a great trade. That's really worked out well for the Bills. Other thing, Cam Lewis did spend time in training camp learning and working some of the safety position. But he's been the backup slot corner for years. So we saw him come in. They took Dotson out and they brought him in, but they put him on. They had four wideouts, so they put him on the other slot. So he was a backup slot cornerback working in the slot. So that's kind of his natural spot. And he did a good job. You know, he did a really good job. So it was utilizing what you got in a better way. They went with four down linemen and then just Bernard, and then had TJ and Cam Lewis out there in both working slots. Mm-hmm. And that's their thing. And then they still had two safeties. Mm-hmm. Now, one of them was Rapp, who is a backup, but is supposed to be a good, you know, he was a starter elsewhere. So, and then of course Poyer. So that's a good defensive backfield for what they were facing.
Right.
They, especially at that time in the game, or when we noticed it in the second half, the Cowboys were not really running the ball at that point. That would have been a great time for them to run. And as athletic as Dak is, he's not a Hurts. He's not looking to run with the ball. So that really worked out for them. It worked out well. They're kind of they seem to be kind of rotating some Dots and some Cam Lewis, depending on what the down and distance was. So we'll see if that continues. That is something that one would think the next team will have spotted. And if they see that, the next team might be in a position to take advantage of it. But it sure worked well in that game.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we talk, I don't want to just talk about the playoffs yet, but what I'm going to say is, in regards to the playoffs, the Bills have 3 games left. And quite frankly, the best way for them to have a chance of getting in is to win all 3. Mm-hmm. It doesn't guarantee it unless Miami loses a game. But before we get into all those scenarios, where I'm coming is, you know, is it possible for the Bills to win the next 3 games? Well, John, they don't have a good road record. And the Bills' next 3 games are 2 on the road, 1 at home.
Right.
And this first one is this Saturday, and it's on the road against San Diego.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the San Diego game? Is this one that they can go win on the road?
Well, I think they can. Like, I don't like. I'm always suspicious of those West Coast trips.
Mm-hmm.
Teams often, what East Coast teams often don't respond well out there. That's
Right. I agree with you. Buffalo hasn't really been great always on the West
yeah,
Coast.
that can happen too. I think this team seems to be before this year. I would have said to you that they're not a team that really lowers themselves to the performance of their opponent, that they come out and they're ready to play before this year. But at the end of the season last year, we did see some of that, some issues with that. And this year, I think we've seen some of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw it in England when they played Jacksonville and whatnot. So when they played Denver a couple weeks ago, so I would be concerned. I think that they have a solid understanding that they have to win these games. So I think they'll be ready to go emotionally.
I'm thinking, first of all, we got an injury on the defensive line with Jordan
Phillips.
So now we're going to see Puda Ford go in there. That's what we're projecting.
Mhm.
And we know they brought him in to stop the run, to help stop the run. And they're going to play an opponent whose best player right now is the running back, Eckler.
Mhm.
So when you look at San Diego, I'm sorry, when you look at the LA Chargers, they don't have a quarterback. They're using a backup. Keenan Allen is out. They lost their center. They lost, I don't, Bosa's not playing.
Those are not
He,
play.
they lost. They do have Khalil Mack.
Mhm.
So they got one playmaker really on defense.
I think they got it. They got a couple of
Couple.
quarterbacks, but
And we don't really know, we don't see a lot of history for their quarterback. So I mean, the Bills certainly are geared up that I think they're a much better team. And when I saw them on the West Coast, look, wasn't it last year that they went out and opened up against the Rams? Or was that the year before?
I think it
Last
was,
year,
yeah.
they went out, opened up against the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champs at the time,
Yeah.
and beat them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're showing lately that they can win. And now with the Bills, with a running game, they should be able to run quite easily. Nothing's ever easy. You never know with a game. Buffalo looks like they can run on the Chargers, and they also look like they got the defensive line that they could really get some pressure on a young quarterback. And by young, I mean young and experienced.
Yeah, the offensive line is supposed to be the San Diego or the Charger offensive line is supposed to be having some issues. So I would think this would be a day where the defensive line would dictate on that side of the ball.
And the last I saw, the Bills are 12.5 point favorites. And I quite frankly, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to cover that score, cover that point spread.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that our potential in playoffs is going to be extended one more week, as I think we're going to come away with a win here. And we're going to have to watch and see what the other 8 and 6 teams do.
Yeah.
And if Buffalo, who's right now in the 9th spot, can move up to 7th. I told you I did a study, and if Cleveland beats Houston this week, the Bills should be able to move up to that 7th spot. But they still got 2 more teams to play in their own division and one on the road in Miami. So that's a long way away. We'll take it one game at a time. But I do think we're going to see the Bills come away from this week with still a lot of high hope to get in the playoffs. And Miami is going to host Dallas, who has not been a good road team. But after this embarrassment, God only knows what Jerry Jones is telling these guys. They might come out like a tiger in a tank against the Dolphins. We'll see. Micah Parsons may teach them a lesson or two.
Okay. Well, you put a lot in there, so let me try to unpack.
Okay.
The Bills going out to the West Coast. Yeah, they did. do well against the Rams.
Mhm.
They had an entire offseason to prepare for the world champion, so they were ready to play that game. And absolutely. Was it last year they went out to Seattle and lost? It wasn't that one of the three. So they lost. They've lost recently in Seattle, although it may not have been last year.
This year they lost to Seattle.
Okay, so
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Russell Wilson. That was Denver.
then right. So some West Coast, East Coast teams sometimes have a hard time going out west. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's something to be aware
And
of.
vice versa.
It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like playing against Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. You don't want to be that team because you
Yeah.
feel sometimes you feel like a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, right.
So whatever. That's a thing. I think they'll win this game. Um, as far as their playoff, I don't want even want to try and think of a score. They may cover that. They are a team that tends when they win, they sometimes will outscore their opponent by quite a bit. So they could do that again here. They could certainly cover. Uh, any team fighting for an AFC wildcard spot had better win more than 10 games. And they're in a position where to do that, they'd have to win their last three. And it's because there's so many teams fighting it out for in the hunt, if you will, that I'm not sure that a 10-win team will even make it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with
that
you.
could happen. And if you are the only 10-win team to make it, you got there on twisted tiebreaker scenarios.
Hey, it's possible the Bills could win 11 games.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And not make it.
Well, no, that's not possible.
Not possible?
Because we have 11 wins and 2 wins against Miami. They win the division.
No, only if Miami loses one.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Hold on. Yeah, okay. So it is possible. Yeah, it is possible. What he said. It is possible. So
it's really dependent on what's going.
They put them.
Cleveland's got to play Cincinnati, or Cincinnati's got to play Baltimore. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen.
They put themselves in a situation where they no longer control them.
They don't control their destiny yet.
But if they don't win out, their chances are almost remote. Because trying to fight it out as a 10-win team, it's almost a flip of a coin. You just don't.
Yeah, I mean,
if one will even make it.
If they win this week and Cleveland beats Houston, they could move up to the 7th spot and be in the playoff picture. Then they control their destiny. They got to win the next 2. But at this point, they don't control their destiny. Yeah. All they can do is control this game, go out and do their best to win it.
So I said for the playoff picture, we'll know more in a week. We'll know more.
Yeah, we'll know more in a week, right?
It would really help if Miami would lose a game. It would keep our team focused because a path would be clear for them.
Yes, there would be a clear path. Right.
So it would help if they would lose this game. I do think I do think Dallas is going to win this game. I don't know that it will be a blowout by any means, but I think that Dallas is better than Miami, but we'll see. And we don't know if Tyreek Hill is going to play, although I've heard that he himself has said he expects to play, but I don't know if he will.
Not only that, Miami has to play Baltimore. And that could be for the number 1 seed.
Well, again, there's still things to play out because if they lose to Dallas, so we need another week.
Yeah,
we need another week for a lot.
All right, so let's go. We got this week to go. Let's not jump too far for the playoff spot, but they're in the hunt. And they're seriously in the. This is not some far-fetched that they need 5 teams to lose for them to get in.
No.
But it is a serious. They have a real possibility to get into playoffs by either getting as a wild card or even the possibility of winning the division still.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's just we got to go on the road, take care of business, and come away with beating a crippled Chargers team.
That's step 1.
That's step 1.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
The only thing I throw at you is we got to win 3 games in a row. And this has been a team as well as happy as we are with their offense right now and their defense. This has been a wildly inconsistent team all year.
Yeah, and for them to win 3 in a row, that means they would have won 5 in a row.
Yeah,
and we haven't seen that all year.
against Philadelphia, their offense looked pretty good.
But their defense looked like they tuckered out.
Against Kansas City, their offense looked good in the first half and and in the second half sputtered. And against Dallas, we saw their offense do. They looked really good, but not doing what they normally do, doing something totally off filter for them. So again, we don't really know what the hell we got here.
Yeah,
we just have an inconsistent team, and you just don't know.
Yeah, we saw a clip where it said the Bills found their identity after one game. I don't know, after 1 week to week 14 or week 5.
They haven't run for over 200 yards in a game, and I don't know how long. So I don't know how this makes this that they now have is their identity a running team, because it doesn't make any sense for the personnel they have or what they normally try. So I don't know what that was.
I think they ran well against a team that they identified that they could run
against. They had a weakness, yeah.
So can they do that against certain other teams?
Maybe,
maybe not. If they have to face Cincinnati, I don't know if they can run on.
Yeah, that was the part that was like, look, Kansas City also plays a lot of man. But yet the Bills weren't able to run like this on them. So I don't know that this is I don't know that they found their new identity. But they won. And that's,
I think Brady's still learning
what he's got.
How to best use it. And
he's definitely seems to be more consistently more consistent in his use of. He has made Cook a weapon, a more consistent weapon than Dorsey ever did.
What we found for this week was we had a team on both sides of the ball that said we're winning through the first half, and we're winning on both sides of the ball by what we're doing. And we did not make an adjustment, which we've seen sometimes they make an adjustment and then it hurts them. Like when they're running the ball and they go, "Oh, we better start passing now." And then why did you change? You were running. Why'd you stop blitzing? But both sides of the ball this week said, "Let's keep doing what we're doing until they stop us." And it was worked on both sides of the ball. It was a truly complimentary football.
The other team did not make good adjustments.
Yeah, the other team did
never forced us to change our hand, and we didn't change it because we wanted to. We made them make a change, and they didn't. So God bless them. Good for them. It's another whole game. It's another new game, and we'll see how the heck this plays out. Hopefully, we'll be dancing. It's a Peacock game. We've got Peacock, so we're going to be able to watch the game. We're looking forward to a Saturday night game. Did we decide what the menu is going to be, or we haven't talked about that?
We haven't talked about that.
We have not talked about the menu for. We had pizza tonight, so
that's what we were talking about. Pizza, wings.
Pizza, yeah, but now we might do wings anyway, though, because wings are good.
All right, so my score for this game, I'm going to tell you that I'm going out and I'm telling 27 for the Bills, 10 for the Chargers.
It is hard to picture a Chargers with a stick for a quarterback. I did that. Yeah, I said that.
Look what you did.
Scoring more than 10 points, isn't it? It is tough. So I'm going to say 19-10.
19-10.
I don't know how they get 19. Or I'm just picking it. I like that number.
All right, so you're going. They don't cover, but they still win by 9. A couple of scores. I'm going. They do cover, and so we'll see what happens.
Okay, so we got that done. And normally we would say goodnight, but I want to do something else right now.
All right, let's do it.
We need to talk about. You mentioned something today or yesterday, and I think you should get that out on the air. You had mentioned. At what point does a team pick up the punk guy? Rise it.
Oh.
Like, does somebody pick him up and say, "Hey, we'll put you on a practice squad so that you're getting used to us. You're feeling back on the on a team. You're feeling part of a team, and you're working with a coach again on a professional field. We still have our pennant, but you start working out with them. We're going to give you an opportunity to be part of a team and to practice on a football field and feeling like every single punt matters, and you're not just out on your old high school field or your old college field trying to work out by yourself. At what point does somebody make that move? Um, Now, any contract like that, unless if you give them a multi-year deal, you got to put them on your 53-man roster. Because once you take him off that, even to put him on a practice squad, he's got to clear waivers, and that contract gets voided. And your practice squad deals are just same year.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Well,
what
let's
do you
say
think?
Matt Ariza was drafted by the Bills, the punt god,
Right?
and the Bills crumbled under pressure.
Yeah. Well, listen,
And
I don't want to get into the politics angle of what
right,
happened.
okay, and
What may have been
they
legal and
they
illegal.
let him go take care of your.
At this point, it seems like he would be clear to play.
Mhm.
Because of his situation seems to have gotten to a point
Okay.
where it's it probably he's no longer untouchable.
And if I was Matt Ariza, I don't think there's any way he's coming back to the Bills.
Okay.
Not because of the Bills, but because I think he probably feels that he got screwed by the Bills.
They just yeah.
They could have kept him. They could have paid him. They could have like, okay, we're going to keep you, but they used that spot for other people, and maybe rightfully so. But they could have left him on the practice squad until they found out what really happened, But they didn't. But if I'm the NFL, the other teams, after talking to you about it, I think it's clear to me that he's gonna get picked up by another NFL team. I just it's either gonna be a team that's not in it that
Sure.
says, it's okay to use a 53-man roster spot and put him on there now.
Sure. I could see
And
the
we
Patriots.
got him.
Yeah,
And we
the
got him.
Patriots looking ahead.
Otherwise, I think it's got to be after the
Season's over.
where they don't have to worry about the 53-man roster spot because I don't know how many people could they have under contract. Like they got to get down to 80 guys by a certain time. I mean, how many guys could they have under contract? 100? I mean, I don't know.
90. You could go up to 90.
So
yeah.
it'd be easy to have him under contract
on a roster then
by anybody.
Sometimes
unless it's a team that's not doing well and somebody like the Cardinals comes out and says, we'll take him.
sure.
But,
sometimes guys who don't make an NFL roster or don't make the practice squad will have an opportunity to go back and practice with their old college team. So he might be, I think he went to San Diego State University. He might be in San Diego working out with his old team. They are, if they made a bowl game, then they're preparing for the bowl game. He might be allowed to practice with their special teams unit. Or if they didn't, some of those guys will be preparing for the pro day.
yeah.
The pro day and also the day in Indianapolis when they all get together. He might be allowed to work out with them there, or he might have to go out and get his own coach to help him.
I think a team that
which
really
might be where
wants
he's
to,
at.
yeah, I think a team that really wants to improve their special teams in that punting
Sure.
could draft him and say, we're getting a potential all-star here, and we're willing to use the roster spot at this point today because we're not in it, and we can drop somebody else. It's not going to hurt us because we're not a very good team this year.
Oh.
We're not a playoff team. We'll take him. And if I was one of those teams that felt that I wanted a punter, I'd make him the offer this year.
So, okay. All right. So I would too. That's right. Like, get him into your house.
Get him.
Yeah. Get him into your house to maybe give you a leg up on signing him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we talked.
Make him feel wanted. Get some money in his pocket. He's still got to go through his proceedings of suing the other people. But and so he's going to have that on his mind. And as an NFL team, you got to remember he's going to have all this stuff on his mind. But get him some bucks in a pocket, give his favor, and
maybe get a leg up. All right. So you had mentioned Puna Ford by the dress. The problem with Puna Ford is generally the Bills dress for defensive tackles. But he plays the same position as Joseph. So it would be unusual for him to go in for Oliver or Tim Sutton. So to put him in, you got to take Joseph out. they generally have three fellas rotating through the Oliver position. And one of them, I think it's normally Phillips, will spell Joseph. So if you have Puna Ford, you have someone to spell Joseph. But whether or not he ever goes into the other tackle spot, because it's a different role and they're suited different. Remember when we talked about like the reason his last year in Seattle wasn't so good because they changed their defensive what they did. So what they were asking him, well, they'd be asking him to do what Seattle asked him to do previous year. So that isn't his thing. His thing is the Joseph role, what they call the 0 or 1 technique. So I don't know how they're going to use it. Now, maybe it don't matter. Maybe he's going to go in there and make some plays. Who the heck knows? But um, I'm interested to see. I probably won't be paying all that much attention during the game. But afterwards, I'm looking to see how many snaps he really gets and how often him and Joseph, if at all, are in there together.
Well, let me tell you, and I think if I remember right, you can correct me because you'll know. Is a zero tech the nose tackle?
The old nose tackle, yeah.
That is what I'd want against the Chargers, who won't have their starting center. Put a nose tackle on.
Well, that's Joseph.
Then
that's what you got.
So you're going to have
what he's been excelling. With Daquan Jones did that role, and he not only did it, he busted through and got into the back. Joseph maybe isn't someone to put a lot of pressure in there, but he's doing that role. That's Puna Ford's role, or that's his forte, if you will.
I think you're going to see Puna Ford maybe on a first down when they think they can run with Eckler.
So just take Joseph out and put him in.
Put him in there for what we think might be the passing down. I'm sorry, for the running down, and then depending what second down is, you might go back. Then you might go back to Joseph and a nose tackle and put pressure on the quarterback if you think they're going to try and pass after that.
That's what I don't know. Well, we'll see, because they've left him on the roster, but undressed. And even after Daquan Jones got hurt, they brought somebody else in and played him in front of him.
Here,
so you're suggesting that in the game they're gonna take the guy that they brought in to play in front of them, take him out, put him in. So I'm interested to see what they actually do.
All right, here's something crazy we've never talked about, but honestly, we haven't seen Von Miller be effective as a defensive end this year.
Oh no! Hold on, I figured it out. That play where he was telling those guys, I own a car wash in Texas.
He did a
car wash and wipe on, wipe off. I can take care of your cars, boys.
Yeah, he did a stunt and came around to the middle of the line, and there were two big offensive linemen there, and he just stood there and he was like this, like he was the pass blocker. But I guess what I was going to say to you, and we'll see if it happens. But in the back of my mind, I'm saying a guy like Von Miller, who has not been able to get around the end and get the pressure on the quarterback since he's been playing this year, is it possible that we're going to see him stunt and come or move him into the inside and let him pass rush next to a guy like Oliver? Or pass rush against a guy like Joseph that can suck up two guys and maybe even move Oliver to the outside.
When they move Rousseau in to utilize his quickness against the size, if they get their hands on him, they can neutralize him. But he has size. If they get their hands on Miller, put him on the ground.
Yeah,
he has no size. Yeah. I'm not criticizing him. That's why he's so speed. That's why he's got speed, and he's been a fantastic player. He's a future Hall of Famer. But so they can do anything, but I don't think when they talk about, like, sometimes Epineza might go in or whatever. He's a guy who doesn't even go in a 3-point stance. He likes to stand up. So in order to give him an edge with his quickness. So I don't know if that would be a good role for him.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anything's possible. Now you put him in the middle, they may break his other knee. And like they might crack him in half. And you know the cheer. Rah, 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 kick him in the knee. Rah, 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 kick him in the other knee. It could be they might be tossed the two
Kick
guys
him in the other knee.
tossing him back and forth between hey, you take him.
You know, you make me want to have a shot of alcohol.
Like a beach ball.
Time for a whiskey here. You know, I don't know. We'll see. All I know is he ain't done anything yet, and he's taken up one of the 11 spots. You talk about doing your one of 11, and he's out there washing cars. He's waxing on and waxing off, and it's sad to see.
He had a couple of pressures. Didn't have a pressure, and I don't know. I thought he didn't affect, like he didn't get his hand on the throw, but you thought maybe he did.
He did grab the quarterback who just moved it back, and he just moved his shoulder, and he slid right off him.
Okay, but okay, so maybe he's getting closer. I don't know. It takes a year. You know, those arterial cruciate ligament replacements or surgery.
Then
Might
maybe
take a whole year.
Yeah, next October we'll
So
see him.
didn't we have an issue? But at the end of last season, White came back and he didn't look like himself.
No, that's true.
But this year, before he got
He was
hurt,
playing
looked
in
pretty
the
good.
form, yeah.
So we may get a couple of good games out of him next year before he gets hurt.
Let's hope we got somebody else.
Longer than that, right?
Let's hope we got somebody else by then.
I don't know their contract, but my understanding was that he has the kind of contract the Bills would not afford to get out of. He'd have to voluntarily retire. And even that would be difficult for the Bills because all they could afford is a guy at minimum to replace him. I mean, they've dedicated a lot of salary cap next year to him. So
Well, maybe he'll take a pay cut, go work in the general manager's office as an
I
assistant.
do not think there is any possibility he will take a pay cut. He's got a car wash to help build.
Maybe we could pay him in something else, you know.
He might have. Yeah, I'm joking about the car wash, but some of these guys have businesses. Okay, man, and he's made enough money where he might be a little like Magic Johnson has a huge business outside of he's part owner of the Dodgers. He's got a business, a catering business.
Next year is so far away.
Mhm.
God only knows what's going to come up with legally for him. That
Miller.
If he gets charged, the Bills may have a way out of his contract.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
We just don't know.
So we'll see. We'll see. That's a long way away. But for this week, I hope they find something he can do
to help.
Maybe, water. He can deliver water.
That job is taken. You don't want to take one of the water boy.
Maybe keep the bench warm, but it is California, so it's probably warm. So I'm not really sure what he can do, but
clipboard holder.
So far it's not rushing the passer. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hit the like button, even if you didn't like it, and subscribe.
And comment.
Yeah.
How good that I am. And he's not bad either. Okay. Bye. Merry Christmas.